And welcome to another Bad Crypto Extra here at the Nexus Earth Conference in Aspen, Colorado, and we are with Peter Schiff, a name that you may know from the business and the podcast space as well.
Absolutely. So, Peter Schiff, you are the CEO of Euro Pacific Capital, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And you got the Peter Schiff Show. You're doing all kinds of stuff, talking about
Peter Schiff Show podcast.
Very cool.
People should subscribe to it and listen, or I put them up on YouTube as well.
Very cool.
Schiffradio.com.
Schiffradio.com.
Yeah, that's what
Is your tagline "Schiff Happens"? Is that?
No, the Schiff Happens was one of the many different slogans we had when I ran for Senate in 2010.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
we had a bunch of Schiff heads out there. Schiff for brains.
Schiff for brains.
Get T-shirts with them.
Very nice with the Schiff emoji.
That would be funny with the blue suit and the green tie.
Yeah,
and all
very
that.
nice, very nice.
So Peter just participated in a panel that was a bit contentious because here we are at a blockchain Bitcoin conference, and Peter thinks Bitcoin is what?
Oh, I don't think it's anything. That's the point. That's the problem with it. It's nothing.
And thank you so much for watching. Boom.
Yeah, no, I just think that, there's a lot of, pie in the sky expectations for Bitcoin to succeed as a, alternative currency, and that it's going to, catapult to extraordinary values, $1 million of Bitcoin. And so you have a lot of people that are just, their judgment is clouded by their greed and their refusal to see the truth. Because if I'm right, it means they're not going to be rich, right? And so people want to be rich, so they built up a defense mechanism and say they don't want me to be right. So they just don't, their mind won't see it. It's a cognitive dissonance. And the problem is when you get a group of people that all believe the same thing, it reinforces it. But when I hear all the arguments, when I hear people arguing with me, trying to convince me that I'm wrong, and I hear how irrational what their argument is, and the things that they have to tell me make so little sense, or they have to say things about gold, for example, which are so ludicrous that it shows me, look, they're not thinking clearly. They're incapable of a rational thought because their judgment has been clouded by their belief in what they're hoping for. And yes, the idea that we can, get rid of the powers of the central banks and we can just set up our own currency and we can all get rich in the process, right? Because all the people who believe they're in on the ground floor of this, and they want everybody else, of course, to buy Bitcoin because it drives up the price of what they already own. But they don't want to admit that it's not going to work.
So I would ask you about this because of the centralized nature of the central bank, right? And they can, with the Federal Reserve Bank not really being a federal agency, being its own private business, and then with the U.S. Treasury and how they print dollars, they can basically, with quantitative easing, there's no cap on the amount of money that's being printed. So that's kind of a problem for a lot of the people who like Bitcoin.
There is a problem, but Bitcoin's not the solution to that problem. It's just another problem waiting to happen. What people should be doing is using gold as an alternative to the dollar or to the euro or to the yen. And now people are saying, well, but gold, it's not as easy. I can't use it to buy a cup of coffee with my iPhone. But yes, you can. See, that's what people are overlooking, technology that actually would work. Like there's a company called Gold Money that I work with. And what Gold Money does is enables you to go online using your phone and buy some gold, right? Take your dollars and buy some gold. And now you own the gold. It's your property. It's in your name. It's in a vault, a Briggs vault. And you can pick which vault you want in Switzerland, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, wherever you want it stored. And now you own the gold. But you can now exchange, any fraction of the gold that you own through an app on your phone, and I can use it to buy a cup of coffee. The merchant can either directly accept my gold if they actually want the gold in exchange for their coffee, or if they want dollars and not gold, instead of using the app to transfer the gold, I can use the free Visa card that they give me, MasterCard rather, and now I can convert my gold to dollars and buy my cup of coffee. But I believe
that makes sense. That's a good idea.
That's real G money.
It is. My question on that is that there's so much paper gold that's just all this contract, paper gold and paper silver, and it's like 200 times amount of gold to actual physical gold.
There is a lot of speculation in gold. There are a lot of people, buying gold that have no intention of taking delivery from people who have no gold to deliver.
Right.
And yeah, there is this paper market, and I believe that the existence of this paper market has probably suppressed the price of gold from where it might otherwise be.
I agree.
But that's not going to happen indefinitely. That's going to suppress it for a little while, and then it's going to take off again.
So what will it take for Bitcoin to ultimately fail? Because we've heard again and again, Bitcoin's dead, Bitcoin's dead, Bitcoin's dead, and then it rallies again, and there's all these other currencies. What will be the nail in the coffin?
Well, look, I mean, if government doesn't put the nail in, right, because governments could certainly outlaw it, and they can do things to, if it's not outlawing it, they can require any institution that deals in Bitcoin, whether it's a bank or whether it's a store that allows people to convert Bitcoins, that they're going to require that merchant or that financial institution know who that Bitcoin owner is by getting their passport, getting ID, getting a utility bill, so they can verify the owner. And of course, once you start doing that, you're going to lose a lot of the appeal of Bitcoin.
Some of those exchanges do that now, like Coinbase, to verify to be able to up-level the amounts that you can actually buy. Like if you just go on and like a regular Joe Schmo, I think you can only do like $250. But here's my debit or here's my ID. Now I can do, and my bank accounts. Now I can do $2,500. Or if I put my passport and this other stuff in and a picture of my face and something, then maybe I can do 10,000 a week or something. So there's some of those limits that are on there right now.
Yeah, and so but that could be imposed though. I mean, maybe they have a de minimis exemption. I don't know. But so there's a big spectrum between outlawing it and just making it more difficult to use it. They certainly they could declare it a security, and now it has to be registered, and you need to be. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do. But even if it doesn't get to that, what could happen is the price could just collapse. Now you've had the biggest collapse that we had. Once Bitcoin was on the radar, not when it went from like 50 cents to 10 cents or whatever, but I mean, when it had that big rally from 100, 200 up to 1,000 or whatever it went.
2013.
And then all of a sudden, people were talking about it in the mainstream, right? Now, because they didn't talk about Bitcoin on CNBC until that happened, right? All of a sudden, it's out there, people are talking about it, and then it collapsed back down to 200. And, then it stayed 200, 300, 400 for a few years. And then it had this big rally. And on the way to 5,000, it had a rally. It got up to, 2,000, then went down to 1,000, whatever, then went up to 3,000, and then went down, then went up to 5,000. And so far, it's been, but if it really breaks, maybe if it breaks back down below 1,000, and then we have an 80% drop, I don't know that it's going to be resurrected yet again. I mean, that could be the final. Now, maybe 5,000 isn't the top. Maybe it's going to go to 10,000 and then crash. I don't know. I mean, you can't figure it out.
Do you own any Bitcoin?
No.
Right.
Any crypto at all? Are you crypto clean?
I don't own any. Yeah. Actually, my brother bought a few $100 worth. He couldn't resist. He's like, he's like, I can't take it anymore. I got to get in.
You got to get some Schiff. I hear you. That's funny.
But yeah, I just think that it's going to end very badly. And look, this is not the first bubble that I haven't participated in. I didn't buy any of the .com stocks. Obviously, I could have made a lot of money if I bought them and then sold them before the crash. I didn't invest in real estate during the real estate bubble. I could have got in and out. So I could have made a lot more money. I mean, it seems like this bubble was right up my alley, right? I mean, this is like perfect. This is tailor-made for Peter Schiff. Right. And I knew about it. I didn't know about Bitcoin at the very beginning when it was like pennies. By the time I found out about it, it might have been 10 or 20 bucks. I can't remember, but it was still like relatively low. Right. But I saw. I said, hey, this is an interesting thing. I said, too bad it can't work. Because I knew that ultimately it wouldn't. So I outsmarted myself because obviously I could have bought quite a bit of it back then. And I could have, the question is though, how much would I still own? I mean, let's say I put $1,000 or $10,000 in back then. Would I, when would I have sold? I mean, there's no way to know. It's easy to say, well, yeah, here's how much money I'd have today. It's assuming I didn't sell any of it, so you don't know.
What would you need to see for your mind to change? Is it a period of time or adoption by institutions or governments?
Well, governments are not going to adopt Bitcoin. I mean, governments may in fact decide to issue a cryptocurrency as opposed to a paper currency. I mean, there's nothing that stops the Federal Reserve from creating FedCoin, or that would be worth $1, right? And you can go to the Federal Reserve and buy a coin for $1, right? They would take that dollar out of circulation and replace it with the crypto dollar, and now you can use it just like Bitcoin, right?
So back to the question.
But there's no way the government is going to say your Bitcoin is money. They're not going to give up that monopoly.
So what would it take? What would make you go, okay?
I was wrong. I don't know that. I suppose if years from now, right? I mean, there are Bitcoin bonds. People are paying their rent in Bitcoins because the landlords, if people's wages are in Bitcoins, prices are in Bitcoins, if Bitcoin stabilizes, and I suppose if it does all the things that people think it's going to do, then I'd have to go back and admit, gee, I was wrong. But I don't think there's nothing with price. It doesn't matter. The price is not going to do it. There are people that say, well, how much higher does it have to go before you admit you're wrong? Price is not going to convince me that I'm wrong. Because a bubble getting bigger doesn't change the nature of the fact that it's a bubble. But I ask people the same thing. I throw it in reverse. And I say, well, how low does Bitcoin have to go before you admit you're wrong? And their answer is, it doesn't matter. So I said, so it can go all the way down to $1, and you're not going to, so they're not going to sell it. So the people that believe in it, there's nothing that can happen that's ever going to change their mind based on the price going down. So it's just like, I'm not going to be convinced that it's going to work just because more fools have decided to buy it. And a lot of it isn't necessarily a fool. There are people that are buying it just because they think that there's going to be more fools to buy it at a higher price. So there can be people that don't even care whether it's going to work in the long run. They're just saying, hey, I'm going to buy it at 3,000 because it's going at 10,000. And I'm just going to buy it now and sell it then. I triple my money. There's a lot of that going on. These cryptocurrencies are casinos at this point. And of course, it's not just Bitcoin. I get emails all the time from newsletters trying to get me to pay them $50 to give me the name of the next Bitcoin. Like, I can get rich. They've discovered the next secret, penny crypto that's going to go up 1,000%. Just give them $50 and they'll tell me what the name is, right? Like if I knew the name of a currency that was going to go up that much, I wouldn't tell anybody. I would buy it myself. What's the point of telling? Obviously, what's happening is these newsletters are buying up these coins. They're pumping and dumping them. They're giving
There's
them
a
the
lot
name
of
of the
pumping
coin.
up and going on in there, but I want to look at it like this for you, Peter, because I'm a marketing technologist. Through some list, one of the top 5 marketing technologists in the world. So I see a lot of technologies. And if we look at the next 3 to 5 years, we see 5G is happening in our phones. We're going to have 20 to 30 gigabit connections on our phone, our refrigerator, our toothbrush, our car with autonomous driving. AI, machine learning, deep learning, all of these technologies are increasing in time. And so it tells me from my technology side of my brain, and Joel's a technologist and futurist as well, it's like it makes sense that fiat principal currency will obviously go away eventually because it's so hard to transfer $1 million. Like, oh my God, I got to transfer $1 million. You got to go, all the security, you got to get this big truck, and you got to hoist all this. If I want to do send a bunch of gold, like, oh my God, I got to pick up all this gold and all. And then if I want to send money from, like, I live in Kansas City. If I want to send money to Kansas, so if I want to send money like to the Philippines, it's got to go from Kansas City to New York, then it's got to go to the city of London, then it's got to go to Zurich, then it goes to Hong Kong, then it goes to the Philippines, and everybody gets their piece of the coin, right? From those transactions and remittance fees. So to me, as a technologist, I look at it and go, maybe Bitcoin's not the one. Maybe Bitcoin's the first one. And quantum computing's coming soon. So some of these hashes might be hacked down the road. But what I'm looking for is, what is that quantum secure one, the cryptocurrency that is going to not be able to be hacked, right? That to me is the one that's going to go super big. Bitcoin may be around for quite a while. It's hard to say in my perspective, but digital currency I don't think is going to go away.
Well, look, digital currencies can be here if governments issue them instead of paper currency. And in fact, most of the paper currency exists as a digit anyway. Most of the money in circulation is not in a physical note. It's just a digit on a computer ledger, right? It's a debit or credit, whatever. So we already have that to an extent. But to the extent that governments want to take their paper currency and convert it into a digital version of the same thing, they could do that. But I don't believe that the private sector is going to create out of thin air a currency, a digital currency that will be accepted as money that is backed by nothing. But what the private
Federal Reserve note is really backed by nothing.
But I said, but that is issued by the government. It's legal tender. You need to have dollars to pay your taxes. And there's a long history of dollars, of a relationship, the culture around it. So
I'm with you on gold. I like gold.
But if the private sector is not going to create a digital currency from nothing and have it work as money, it's just not going to happen. People are speculating that's going to happen. And a lot of people think they're going to get rich.
A lot of powerful people don't want that to happen,
right? Well, but it's not going to happen. It's not about people not wanting it to happen. It can't happen, right? Because and obviously Bitcoin can go up, right, and then it can crash, right? It can go up and go down 90%. And even if you think it's going to recover, during the time where it goes, something that goes down 90% cannot be your money, right? I cannot base prices, I cannot function if money is that volatile. Money has to have a stable relationship with other commodities, other goods and services. Even if prices rise a couple of percent a year, it's okay, I can still deal with that. But if you have
the volatility that bothers you so much about crypto?
And the ultimate fact that there's nothing behind it, which is why it's going to be volatile.
Well, there's math and proof behind it.
But the math doesn't do me any good. I mean, I can't do anything with that math.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't do anything with the math when they can do quantitative easing and print
but you can
as much money as they want.
But you can do something with gold, and,
right?
And if you won't, somebody else will. And gold has value. And
ding, 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 ding. Next round.
That's great.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, appreciate it, Peter Schiff, Bitcoin Contrarian, a podcast host of his own, and go ahead and subscribe.
I'll show you guys. Another thing you can do with gold is I can make it into a debit card because my gold money card is actually made of gold.
That is beautiful. Look at that.
That's my debit card.
Oh, don't see the number there, but look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's made of gold.
Okay, well, gotta go.
That was nice try.
That's sweet.
So go goldmoney.com. Anybody can get one. Goldmoney.com. It's more than an ounce. It's 50 grams. But if
I love that,
you can buy one.
I want one of those now.
You can buy one of these. They'll give you a plastic one for free. You can get a free MasterCard.
I want a plastic one.
Well, then that'd be a baller. Buy one of these. Goldmoney.com.
Goldmoney.com.
That's the company that sells them, and you have your account, and you can now get out of cryptos into digital gold, which is not digital gold because it's actual gold. It's your real gold that you own, that you can take delivery of whenever you want, or you can allow it to be stored.
This is now the bad gold show.
It's a good gold
It's a good gold show.
Yeah. As we always tell you, do your own due diligence, figure this stuff out. It's your money. We are certainly not financial advisors. We are blockchain.
I'm a financial advisor.
He
That's what I do for a living.
He is. So you can listen to him and you can blame him if your gold goes up or down. And thanks for watching, Peter. Thanks for joining us.
Good luck, guys.
This was great. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Awesome.